Hello and welcome, I am SimUK. If you're a big fan of the Commandos series, then make sure you watch to the end of this video because there's a big announcement I think you're going to want to hear. Back in 1998, Spanish-based Pyro Studios released the second iteration of a trilogy called Commandos 2 Men of Courage. And on the 24th of January 2020, Calypso Media will be releasing their Commandos 2 HD Remaster version. The Commandos trilogy was a collection of real-time tactical games that involved puzzle-solving, stealth and combat in a World War II environment. And despite its Spanish origins, Commandos 2 especially feels quintessentially British, akin with classic World War II movies like The Guns of Navarone, Bridge on the River Kwai, or one of my personal all-time favourites, Escape to Victory, which is probably less relevant here. You command a small allied task force of 9 men and women, each with individual skills, attributes and abilities, which when combined and utilised efficiently, can set about destroying the Third Reich from within over 10 very long and progressively more complicated and treacherous missions. Make no mistake, there are many hours of gameplay available here.
Good choice, Colonel.
The environments are fully interactive. You can steal enemy uniforms and weapons, climb poles, swing from cables and utilise vehicles, ships and planes. Whilst each level is to some degree linear, missions can be completed in any number of ways, utilising stealth or even full-on frontal attacks if you so wish. Although stealth attacks will likely win out on most occasions.
This group of soldiers has been isolated from their squad. Let's see if we can offer them a hand. Or a knife. Mine. Good. Ah!
The choice is entirely yours, and there are numerous World War II vehicles and weapons for you to exploit.
I was trained for this.
The Commandos series is an absolute classic, and I was very excited and grateful to get an early access copy to review for you today. As such, I don't have a price. It hasn't been announced yet. I would say a fair price for this would be somewhere between £5 and £10, because, as the devs keep telling me every time I ask for a game tweak, this is just a remaster, not a remake. So what has changed? Well, from what I've witnessed so far, the HD remaster does absolutely nothing with regards to the internals of the game. All of the characters' voices, controls and animations appear to be exactly the same as they were back in 1998. Now, I do have a copy of Commandos 2 in a box in my house somewhere. Can't find it, can't test it, but they do certainly look and sound pretty much identical. To me, the controls definitely feel just as clunky now as they were back then, but just like the original, if you spend enough time and have enough patience, they do start to feel somewhat natural, and the mistakes that I was making at the beginning occur less and less often. One of the additions is more tips and hints in the tutorials, which, if you remember this game from its early release, is probably a very good place to start. But honestly, I feel they could have and perhaps should have done much more with the tutorials. Visual acuity, by which I mean when and where and how can you pass through an enemy's line of sight without being spotted? Because you can, but the game doesn't necessarily tell you how. How do you track down your objectives? How do you locate something on the map? How to pick things up off the floor? Luckily, pretty much all of these things I remembered or figured out as I've been playing over the last couple of weeks, but totally new players, especially millennials, are going to have a complete meltdown with this.
Piece of cake.
It would have been nice, and I was kind of hoping to see this, if the development team would have considered allowing greater configuration alterations. One of the main things I think this game would benefit from, and it would totally transform it, in my humble opinion, is the ability to have free rotation of the camera. This was the first of the Commando series which had a 3D engine, and in order to rotate it, and we're talking 4 different available angles here, you had to hold down Alt and left mouse click in order to rotate, which is, for want of a better word, a little cumbersome. I asked the devs about this, but I was told that there will be no new features added at all.
Okay. Well, it's about time. This place is becoming quite dangerous.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to see you too. What is the plan?
What they say is that this is Commandos 2 reimagined in HD, with reworked controls, modernised UI, and an overhauled tutorial. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen a huge amount of evidence to back that up. And, if you really want to get finicky, that's pretty similar to what I asked for, but so far, I honestly see nothing which is remarkably different from the original. Where the real change appears to be is that this is now going to be available on the PS4, the Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, which essentially translates as having full controller support for the PC. Now that's great for consoles, but for us PC players, what's the draw? What's the reason for us purchasing this game? Now, it's fair to say that Commandos 2 truly is a remarkable game that, despite all of its limitations and poorly implemented PC controls, really does have one of the best gameplay mechanics ever released in gaming. Commandos 2 still captures the essence of World War II against the odds special forces, and it categorically highlights the varied and essential skill sets from all walks of life which ultimately helped to win the war from within.
Fine.
So it's an absolute pleasure to have it back in my life in 2020, but with just a few days left before the release date, the general vibe on Steam's Community Hub is in tune pretty much with my own feelings. This HD remaster does not really do anything much for anyone other than console players. I have seen multiple requests for camera and key binding changes, and while some key binding alterations do exist, the core viewing controls are not among them. The zoom in and the zoom out feature in this game is laughable, and it always was, and it hasn't got any better. Equally, many people are less than impressed with the HD remaster itself, suggesting that much more could and perhaps should have been done. I have to say there kind of is an improvement, I'd say, but I'd also have to agree with them. Some players are having issues with widescreen and FPS drops too, and there appear to be a lot of bug reports which are still emanating here, there and everywhere. I've seen a couple of little bugs, but personally I haven't really had any game-breaking bugs. And the original game is, let's be honest, somewhat feature-rich in terms of quirky behaviour. That's still the same, but certainly the mouse pointer recognition problem still appears to be there as well. This is beta, don't forget. This is not necessarily the exact same version that they're working on. This could have been months ago that this beta release was created. I myself have had significant issues when trying to use my own Xbox 360 controller, and I have been told repeatedly that controller support is not going to be included in the beta. So, okay, fine. There is no controller support for PC players right now. They assure me it's going to be there on release day, so I can only tell you that I believe what they say, but I see no evidence of it as yet. Having spoken to the devs, I can confirm, although not implemented yet, it will be there for release. Beta versions are not necessarily like the most recent version that they have.
Fine.
So in conclusion, and some big news still coming guys, I haven't forgotten. My conclusion is this then: for players like me who remember this classic fondly and are planning to play on PC, you will feel like nothing has changed at all. And in many ways, that's kind of a great thing. But I do honestly think just a few small alterations to the original could have benefited the remaster. Simply being able to zoom out a little bit further, or better still, rotate the camera freely. That would have really transformed this game for me. But if you're planning on playing with a controller rather than a keyboard and mouse on your PC, then okay, you should theoretically have that option available to you. Equally, if you're looking to play this on a console, then theoretically that is also going to be a possibility. So that's pretty good, I suppose. Calypso are kind of getting into their remaster, their gaming remaster vibe, I guess. I don't know what to call it. They're also releasing the Praetorians, it's another HD remaster. So I've never played Praetorians, but I do seem to remember it, and I'm sure it's a very good game, so go check that out if you're interested. That's not the big news. This is the big news. The big news is that Calypso have just built a brand new game development studio, explicitly tasked with the production of a next-generation Commandos strategy title. It's going to be designed for both PC and console platforms, and it will be released worldwide simultaneously. Calypso Media say this: Commandos is a great, globally recognized brand, and we will do our utmost to meet the expectations of the worldwide gaming community. We can't wait to get started. And I'll be honest with you, if they just fix that rotating camera problem that I hate so much in this game, then I am going to be incredibly excited to see that as well. Also, as a slight side note, whilst I was doing some research, I discovered that if you sign up to the Calypso newsletter now, you can get a 20% discount from their store. And I don't get anything back off that. I just thought you might be interested to know. So that's it from me, guys. This is my review. I hope you enjoyed it. And you know how this works. This is YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. And please, 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 comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye for now.
I was born for this.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño.